Hey everyone, and welcome to the 68th episode of We're All in the Same Boat. I'm your host, Luke Roxwold, and today I am here with Shane.
Hola.
Michael.
What's up? Dang it, I was going to say howdy. I totally missed that.
Technically, you did say howdy, and Nick. I'm not going to forget you this time, Nick.
Howdy.
Dang it, Nick. What?
As always, you can check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, and follow us on Instagram, WAITSB Podcast. Leave us a review on... I sort of did that out of order.
You can do it.
Leave us a review on Instagram.
Jesus.
Message us.
We would
tell us
love to hear from you.
You
If you
did
want
it.
to, if you want to participate in the polls and the questions, Instagram is the place to do it. So follow us on
Pokemon
Instagram.
Go to the polls.
As
Pokemon
Stop,
Go to
please.
the Instagram.
please.
It's like, please stop.
Even though you should go to the polls, but not with the joke.
Leave us reviews on things like on iTunes.
Dude.
The other I word. Stop. All you have to do is search We're All in the Same Boat on iTunes, scroll down to the bottom and hit 5 stars. You don't even have to leave a review or anything. You just click the button once and it's done, and it makes us really happy. So thank you, everyone who's been doing that. Also, once again, like I said, check us out on Instagram, WAITSB Podcast. That's how you can interact with us. We have questions. You can message us. You can tell us things you want us to talk about. It's really fun. Go follow us there if you want to support us. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
So,
Glad to be here.
Sweet.
yes, as a remedial person of society, what is Stitcher?
It's an app.
Well,
It's
thank
just-
you. That explains it all. Have a great night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
It's
another
fun being
podcast
here.
It's I don't use it, but
It's a
some
podcast
people
app.
use
If our
it.
podcast is on it, what is it? What is it?
Just like the podcast app, but just another app. It's
Oh.
like not that interesting.
It's just a bunch of different podcasts on there. that you
Just a
listen
bunch
to?
of
Basically.
podcasts.
Oh, okay.
And you pay for it,
A,
can't
bu- a,
don't
bunch,
you?
we're on there,
bunch of
so-
podcasts.
You can
Sorry.
get a premium subscription, something. I don't know. It's like a whole
It's
thing.
for people who don't have Apple phones who need to have another app to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I get
Well,
that.
okay. Except
I
that the
don't
podcast
think that
app
doesn't make
on
sense, but
well, the podcast app on iTunes is actually, I feel like it's not as good anymore.
It does
keeps
suck,
weird.
actually. Every time they update it, I hate it.
iPhone.
It's true.
It
I
actually
have
is the
more
worst.
hatred for it every single time.
Literally, like, you have to press, like, now to see, like, the description of the podcast, you have to, like, hold it,
Oh.
and then, like, another option comes up. It's not even working now. I'm trying to do it.
I feel like normally when
There we go.
when I run this podcast, I want, or when I have conversations with people in general, I want to ask some little small talk questions. And so like, I want to ask you guys the small talk question that I normally ask other people, which is, how was your weekend? But your weekend was like so far away that it feels weird to ask that. But how was your weekend, gentlemen?
My weekend was crazy, actually.
Oh goodness. My weekend was long. I did so many things. I have so many stories.
Dude, let's go through all of them.
Well, okay, I don't have. Okay, I do have. Well, the most interesting story that I have is that, me and one of my friends were supposed to go see the Nun on over the
Ugh.
weekend, but we didn't go. Well, we went eventually, which it was pretty good. We had the theater to ourselves, so that was cool.
Oh, cool.
But mutual friend says, "Hey, I want to go out." So my friend texted me. They're like, "Hey, don't hate me, but I kind of want to go out. You should like come with us." I'm like, "Sure, whatever." So we go to this place or this club bar thing called The Wave in Norfolk, and I had a great time. I can't speak for everyone else in the group. So as soon as we get into the club, this one guy walks up to me and he starts talking to me, and he's like asking, he's like, "Oh, how long did it take to get your hair so long?" And I'm like, "Oh, 3 years." And he's like, "Oh, I just started growing out mine," and yada, yada, yada. So, well, good luck with that, because it's a journey and a process, and it's difficult, and you're going to cry, and you're going to rip all your hair out at some point, and then you're going to start over. So I gave him like hair advice, which I thought was extremely weird, because never in my life did I think I would give someone hair advice, but that was something. And then as that was happening, though,
You spent a
didn't
lot of time
feel-
crying? Wait, you cry?
I mean, I cry sometimes. I've never cried over my hair. That was just a joke.
Oh, I'm just curious. I just wasn't sure if it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I cut my hair and it wasn't right.
Tears are
and
to
like,
cry.
it's like,
No.
No.
Not
Okay.
that.
I was just curious. Just wondering.
Shane, are you okay?
So while that's happening, while I'm talking to this person, right next to me, two of my friends are standing next to me, but I can't see it. But according to my friend, his ex came up to him and started making out with him and then just left.
Whoa.
And I said, wait, how did I miss
What?
that? I said, wait a minute, how did I miss this happening? So that happened. And then later on in the night, one of my friends goes to the bathroom, or they go to the bathroom, but they don't go to the bathroom like in the club. They go like outside to go to the bathroom. I don't know
What?
why. I don't know why.
What is
And
wrong
so-
with your
Like,
friends?
to another bathroom,
And so-
or they're going outside?
I have no idea.
What are
I
they?
was
It's like
I was
a
told
dog.
from
like,
another friend that this
I
person
gotta go
was
out.
going
I gotta go outside. Go outside.
So me being the responsible person that I am, I highly believe in the buddy system, especially
As you should.
As you should. So I said, you can't let him go alone. Like something's gonna happen. And lo and behold, what happened? Something. So
Ah!
all I see is when I'm like getting close to outside, he's coming back like up the steps, and he's saying something about how he's about to punch somebody out in the face. I'm like, yo, what is going on? Like,
Oh, man,
2
getting
seconds
rough at the
ago, we were
club.
just chill. And so he goes up to this person who's like backed up against the wall, and he like puts his hand against their face, or like against the wall, like next to their face, I think. And
Oh
he
man.
said something along the lines of like, if you ever grab my dick again, something, and I'll beat you up or something. So apparently this person, well, it's part of the story, but this guy grabbed his dick and he was like, I'll beat you up. And so I was like, no, let's chill. Like, it's not that, let's go have
he
a good
did was
time,
grab
right?
you in the
So,
most
and then
intimate way.
all the people around
my
this
gosh.
person though, all the people around this person were like, oh, that's a girl, you can't hit her and all this stuff. And I don't know, these people were drunk because clearly this person was clearly not a female. Like, they just clearly were not. And so then my friend said,
well, are they?
my-
Well,
what?
Was it super clear?
I mean, how do you know? How do you know it wasn't a girl?
Yeah, you
Or
can
do you-
assume their gender.
Okay.
First of all, how
you know
dare
what?
you?
2018. Sorry, you're right. 2018.
This is dick grabbing.
Whatever. Anyways,
2018.
so
Sorry.
my friend who's
So
no,
this
it's okay.
human
This
grabbed his
person-
dick.
Yeah.
Wait,
They said the
okay.
person, the girl, my friend, one of my other friends who is a girl, is like, well, I'm a girl and I'll beat this up, and starts like, and I'm like, no, okay, we all need to calm down. Like, I don't know why any of us are talking about fighting. Like, can we please stop? And then one of the people at where the entrance where you come in that works there was like, yeah, just go enjoy the rest of your night. So like, I push my friend away and tell him to like shake it off. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Let's just enjoy the rest of our night. And then yeah, that was kind of it. Then the drama kind of stopped because I am a responsible adult and I kept the peace and we didn't get kicked out. So boom.
Shane McCaddy saves the day.
That's what I do. That's my role
That's
in this
what you do,
in this
yes.
group of friends.
I saved the day.
Stopping fights, making sure bathroom breaks go well.
No, I honestly said, man, I'm so glad I was here. What if I didn't accept the
Seriously.
invitation?
It
to
would've
come
gone
along?
down.
To go to the
Like, you
bathroom.
would have fought, like,
Right.
you know.
Crazy.
Well,
was
you
it
did-
the same guy that his ex kissed him and then he got his
No, totally, no.
Parts.
This is
That would've been
totally
crazy
different
night.
friends. No, different friends, different people. Those are two
Okay.
different situations.
I think I might have missed something. But yeah, that's crazy. That's weird. That's way crazier than my weekend.
And then I went to Busch Gardens twice. Not as fun if you go 2 times too close together.
Did you ride Griffin?
No.
Oh,
Oh, dude.
Shane, you can do it.
But I don't want to.
All right, Shane, we're gonna go see Venom
Yeah, I don't
next
really
week,
like-
and we're gonna ride Griffin.
I don't really like roller
What?
coasters.
I
What?
went on the 2 roller coasters that I went on. I did it. I got
Right.
over the fear, but that doesn't mean it's for me. I don't like it.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it. Sorry, I didn't enjoy it
I
as
don't like
much.
it either.
Maybe at a future point in time, but I'm okay.
Okay. Well,
I like the
I
ground.
did something this weekend. I love that I asked that question.
Did you ride a
but-
roller coaster?
But I No.
Blasphemy.
But I'm realizing that I sort of asked that question. It's like that friend that's like, "Hey, do you have any hobbies?" And then the whole time you're telling them your hobby, they're like, okay, but okay, so I have a hobby." You know, they like ask the question and they don't want to hear your answer. They just want to tell you what they did. But I also was kind of curious. But I was gonna say, because we were talking about my film premiere, and I know you guys wanted to ask me about that.
Did you make a film?
So I forced you to ask me by me doing this, taking this approach.
I wanted to talk about it actually, but I forgot about it.
I love.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So wait,
Yeah.
so Luke, what did you do last weekend?
All right, I don't know what to do.
What were you gonna say, Shane?
I was gonna
hear
say.
it.
I was gonna say. I love how he said, "I forced you to ask me about this," but none of us asked him about it. He just brought it up.
He asked
said that we
himself through
asked
us.
him.
Well, in the group chat, you guys asked me, and
We
then
did.
said we're going to talk
I know,
about it.
it's
That was
just-
days ago.
But the people listening
Was it?
don't have the context.
So
it's just funny how you
yeah.
said it.
yeah. So what did you want to ask me, Michael? Do you remember anything, or should I just talk?
Oh yeah, how was your movie premiere? Or your movie promotion? Was it good?
Okay, I didn't even know you. Oh wait, no. You brought Thread to another film festival, correct? Or
Yeah,
you
okay,
brought it
so-
to a film festival.
So context, I made Thread I finished Thread in April, and I premiered it once, quote unquote, because I just invited a bunch of my friends to a movie theater that I rented out and brought speakers and played it on a big TV or a big screen in a movie theater. So that was like the first premiere. But then I took the film and basically wanted to just throw it away. I was over it. You know, I was like, I've watched this movie 100 times. I'm done. I never want to see this again. But I realized, you know, it's done. I should at least try to put it in some festivals because, you know, who knows? Who knows how it might do? So I did, and it was accepted into the Tacoma Film Festival. So that's pretty cool. And I didn't really know what to expect. I've never been to a film festival with my film in it or just by myself. I had no idea what to expect, but I went to it, and it was a lot of fun. They played my film second last. I feel like that's good
Sweet.
because I feel like usually they're trying to put the better films later on. There was a lot of documentaries, and then my film. my film is definitely not a documentary. And well, actually, maybe it is. Maybe it's real. Maybe it was all real. It's like found footage. Just kidding. So they played it, and they had like a Q&A section. So I got to go up at the end, and I got a microphone. I got to talk to people, and all of this has been vlogged. So it will all be coming out in a video. So there's an early plug, but it's really fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so cool, dude.
Like
So
for the
what's,
rest of my life, I can say.
Did you win?
Yeah, can you win a film festival?
Did you win the festival? No, I didn't. I don't think I won anything. I haven't officially.
Did you get like any feedback or anything, or
Yeah, like so
or
people
anything out of the?
without spoiling the movie.
Oh, the vlog. It's in the vlog.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
no, I mean
no.
no, I'm saying like
Oh.
without. I'm not gonna. Well, okay, yes, it will be in a vlog.
Spoiling
but,
the film.
But to not spoil. Oh my gosh. To not spoil Thread, to keep from spoiling Thread, there's a point where someone figures something out, and I had someone come up to me telling me they just love that part so much, and then a lot of people had a lot to comment about my actor, who plays a very specific type of actor, not actress, so you guys know who it is, and they all really, really liked it. They asked him a couple questions in the Q&A. He was there, and I had a couple friends show up as well, so it was really fun. And I'm so glad that I filmed all of it because
Nice.
now I can have it in my memory forever. So
Forever.
Pretty awesome,
Yeah.
man.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, it's
Do
like
you have any? Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of the equivalent. Like if I was a musician, it'd be the equivalent of playing a big show.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I hope you do more of that. Probably like a really good way to get connections.
Yeah,
for
especially if
sure.
I can get another film that I'm a little bit happier with. Like I'm happy with Thread, but I see all the warts, and
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean, you're gonna
like
get better
to-
with every film you make anyway. Every time you
Right.
make something, you look at it, you're like, oh man, I should have done this.
Right.
I know that, but that's always a good sign. That means
Yep.
you have growth.
It means I'm an artist.
Do you have any like movies that you're planning in the future, like in the near future?
Well, I wanted to do 2 films this year, and I finished one, and I'm running out of time.
Oh.
But I really want to do some sort of action movie, go back to some of my roots a little bit, and do some like a more upbeat movie. Thread's kind of somber and mellow, and I'd like to do something that's a little bit more exciting.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd fly in
have-
for that.
That'd be
Can
awesome.
we do
Be an extra.
like a
Yeah.
Jedi battle movie?
You can be someone who screams like ah, and just points. You're the little extra guy, you know.
I'll fly up there if we do like a Jedi like fight movie. I know that's like 2007, but I'm down.
I mean, yeah, I could do it, you know. But yeah, so that was my weekend. I know you guys wanted to ask me about that, so but let's move on from that. We talked about the topic that we're going to talk about tonight a little bit, and
Oh,
what?
nothing.
Oh wait, can I give a quick synopsis of my week? It's really crazy.
Oh,
It's like-
sure.
Go back and forth. I was like day by day. I'd be like, let's end these
too.
because it's actually I just realized my week's been really crazy. So Wednesday, I played a gig at this bar, and this old lady was hitting on me. I didn't think about anything of it.
What?
And then I saw this like young girl like twerking with the other old lady, and there's like all these like guys
What?
my age dancing with like old ladies. And then I realized, well, someone told me this bar is full of swingers. People go there to
Oh,
find other people to join in on their marriages and such. And then on Friday,
Ooh, fun stuff.
yeah, Friday, I went and played a gig. I don't even remember where. I woke up. It was like we play like restaurants and stuff all the time, so it's not like I'm playing like I was at Tennessee last week. I don't remember. But anyway, so I got back at like 3 a.m. Then at 6 a.m. we woke up to go. Well, at 5 a.m. I woke up to be there at 6 a.m. for like a marathon we were playing at in Hampton. Then after that, I went to play at a church. Then after that, I went to go play another gig. And I go home at 3 a.m. And after that, I woke up at 5 a.m. I went to church. Then after that, I went to youth group. Then I went to bed eventually. And then Monday, I woke up, took a nap, started working. And my friend reminded me that Froggy Fresh is playing at a restaurant in Norfolk. Who, if you don't know what that is, it's the baddest of them all. He's a rapper. All the haters want to be in. It's amazing. Google it. So I go to the concert.
Froggy Fresh.
I know.
He's
I
like basically
haven't
a
looked
comedy
at it
rapper. He's really funny. His character is like a
Is
redneck
he
like
culturally
redneck middle schooler.
insensitive?
He's actually pretty like politically correct. He just doesn't tackle controversial topics really.
Okay.
Funny though, check him out. Anyway, I met him. He's like 5 feet tall, super nice, really cool. I met his sidekick, Moneymaker Mike. But anyway, I came back to where I was parked. I parked in Hampton at a business, and my friend and I met there and went there. I came back. My car was freaking towed. So I called the towing company.
What?
And they're like, yeah, you shouldn't let your car there. I'm like, there's no, like the sign says no overnight parking, but I got back at 11. Overnight should be like midnight. He's like, whatever, we have a contract with the property owner.
Whatever. This
I was
is
like, whatever.
Virginia.
So I called the property the business I was parked in front of. They said they usually don't tow before midnight. I called the property manager of that property. He said the same thing. I called the main manager at the place that I was towed at. Did the same freaking thing. I'm gonna call the owner of tow company and try to get my money back because I had to pay.
Do you
them,
have
like,
your car now?
$125. I do.
Okay. So you got it.
So yeah, that happened, and
Sheesh.
I guess that's where I am now. And my transmission is going out, but that happened before the towing.
That's
So,
the.
yeah.
I mean, do you remember one of the first stories you told on this podcast was about your car, about you wrecking your car?
And the
Is it when I
one
got stuck at
story
the strip
we've
club?
never ever finished on the podcast, and I'm still triggered.
Wait, did
Oh,
we never
really?
finish that story?
No, and
What
then we
story?
said,
Why do we
Wait,
not finish it?
wait.
but then we said, oh, it'll just go on as a podcast legend, and we'll never finish the story, and people will always want to know what happened.
I want to know what happened. What story?
What?
So do I, Nick. So
Right
do
now?
I.
We never finished it. What?
No,
What? We
didn't we
never
finish it?
finisst this story.
no, we got
I
trolled.
didn't know that.
Michael trolled us for.
Michael,
I didn't mean to.
you're off the podcast again.
You want me to tell the story real fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, very quickly.
Okay, so long story short, I was driving in good old Suffolk, and it was raining. I missed my turn, so I needed to make a U-turn. I was like in a neighborhood, and there was a part, it was like a T intersection, so it was like one turn on the left and then straight, you know, so there's like a little bit of room to turn around. Which I think technically it's illegal to U-turn there, which is probably, I think I now know why
Get
you
what
shouldn't
you
do that.
pay for, Michael.
So I tried to U-turn, and it was raining, so I hydroplaned, and I ran up in this
Whoa.
person's yard, and ran over their garden, and in front of their garden was a big wooden eagle. That eagle was like pretty much intact, but his beak fell off. I look around to see if anybody saw me. This lady across the street saw me. Before that, I was thinking about just driving away, you know,
Yeah,
I don't
me
know if
too.
I was going to, but I was like, I might be able to just leave. So I left a note on the door like, hey, my name is Mike. I hydroplaned man over your garden.
And I broke your eagle.
I broke your eagle. This is my number. Call me and I'll come fix it. So I had to be somewhere, so I left. And the next day, that night, I found out that my radiator was like bowed in all the way. Like it looked like a bow and arrow,
Oh,
but just the bow.
that eagle was really
Wow.
strong.
So I tried to pour in more coolant, and it literally just fell to the ground. So the next day, I took it to a shop that deep in the backwoods of Suffolk. This old guy, tried to buy my car from me and said, he's like, I can fix it for $500, or I can buy it from you for $2,000. I was like, no, thanks, man. So tried to buy my car, it didn't work. The guy whose garden I hit calls me. His name is also Mike, and he's like, hey man, like it's cool that you hit my car, like I mean my garden, but yeah, man, come out and fix it whenever you get the chance. I
It's cool that
understand,
you hit
like,
my
stuff
garden.
happens. Yeah. So I get there, like I went there like the next Monday, and it turns out he was like really big in his church, and he was trying to like, well, he asked me, he's like, hey man, like, so are you a Christian? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, are you really a Christian, or do you just like your grandma's a Christian, so you call yourself a Christian? I was like, well, I'm like a worship leader at a church. He's like, oh yeah, dang it, I was gonna like bring you to the Lord and stuff. Like he literally had like a whole sermon planned. So he just like told me.
I was
for,
like, no, but it'd be funny if he thought Christian meant that you worshipped eagles, and that's why he had that statue.
you hit
just
an
was-
eagle and
he
you're
was-
a Christian.
He was just like his religion is to worship that eagle statue. And so that's why he's like, dude, you're probably going to hell. I might need to convert you because you broke the statue of my Lord and Savior,
Oh, goodness.
bald eagle. Is it a bald eagle or what
Yikes.
kind of eagle was it?
Well, it was a brown wooden eagle. It wasn't painted, so.
But was it a bald eagle though?
I think it was technically a bald eagle. You would
If
ask.
you had painted his head white, it would have been a bald eagle.
Yep. I also asked him if
Was
he
it dark brown or light brown? I'm trying to
was
picture
dark
this
brown.
eagle.
Dark brown bald eagle, and he was like, "Yeah, my friend made this, and he made like one of them for me, but it's all right." So I felt kind of bad.
He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray that you don't go to heaven anymore.
Dude, that's horrible.
We were talking.
broke my-
he's
you
the
broke my
nicest guy.
friend's
man.
Sorry,
eagle.
Mike. That's
literally-
horrible.
He literally has a ministry where he and his friends go out and pick up trucks and just look for people who have like car troubles, and they just help them.
And you broke his
And I
eagle
broke his freaking eagle
with your
Jeez.
car.
with my entire
That makes it even
car.
worse because it's like not only does he do stuff with cars, but you destroyed his property with a car.
Yeah,
I came back and I
not
fixed it.
great.
I bought him some new
Yeah.
lights. I like remulched it, put the bricks back up. There are also bricks too, which also hurt my car. So yeah, that was the end of the story. I think I told all of it last time.
Wait,
But it was
really?
interesting
So
because
it was all a lie. We actually did finish this story.
No,
I don't remember.
we didn't.
I guess we didn't.
Said, no, we did not finish the story.
But yeah, so that's what happened.
Now
It was
we
pretty crazy.
have
And it was
no
interesting
longer
because like,
triggered.
oh yeah, so the weird thing is my name is Mike, as you guys know. My dad, who's also my insurance agent, I called him. His name is Mike. The guy whose yard I hit, his name is Mike, and the guy who fixed my car, his name is also Mike. That was really weird.
That is very weird.
Like a really weird coincidence. I know it's a kind of common name. Three of them were old guys who Mike was the most common name in for like 30 years, but pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is odd. Mike's right and left.
Yeah.
So to get into the topic, I
Oh,
put up a
geez.
poll. Yeah, I'm gonna let everyone kind of run with this one a little bit, but I put up
Here
a
we
poll
go.
asking our audience. I said we're about to podcast. Should we talk about this topic? And the funny part about it is all the men that voted said yes, and all the women that voted said no.
Really? That's interesting.
Really?
Oh man, yeah.
They probably
I'm
just
looking
don't want
right
to
at
hear.
it.
They don't
Not
want to hear
surprised.
our. They don't want to hear our opinions.
Yeah, I know.
on it.
Which I don't care. This is my podcast.
That's
it's like
part of.
I
but
feel
that's
like
part of the
it's
I'm
one of
problem.
more
those things-
surprised that women listen to this podcast. Let's be honest.
I think it's funny because it's like I know it's very possible that someone could come up after this podcast and say, you shouldn't just have a bunch of guys talking about feminism without a girl. But it's like I don't care. I'll talk about whatever I want to talk about. It's my podcast.
Amen. Preach
So that's
about
it. Like I don't like this is free. This podcast is free,
Like,
so we're gonna talk about
you
whatever we
can
want,
leave.
and I don't care.
Hello?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter.
And if you
So-
don't want to hear a bunch of guys talk about feminism, you can leave right now.
Yeah, just
Thank
turn
you
off the
for
podcast.
coming.
It's not
See
like
you
I'm
next
forcing you to
episode.
listen to it, so just don't listen. Or listen to it and then follow us on Instagram and send us a message and tell us what
And
you
say
think, and maybe
something.
we'll address it. Maybe,
Boom.
probably not, but maybe.
Probably not.
So that is the topic that we are going to bring up:
Yikes.
feminism. Michael,
Well,
you were the one who brought it up.
I know I've talked a lot, but I have like a thought process leading into this, and it's not. I don't know, it's probably not what you think of when you think of feminism, but I just know I was talking to my woman about this recently. She like
What is her name?
her name's Leanne. She's pretty cool.
Actually, no, fun
Yo,
fact.
woman.
Michael.
I forgot about that.
Michael.
What?
She
How dare you.
she voted no on the poll.
Nice.
My girl.
Sorry, girl. No, so all right. And not to like put like I'm not gonna put her details out there, but basically she's had a problem with someone at work who like is being like immature and disrespectful, and she's talked to people higher up, and they're kind of like, and this guy's a guy, which is almost inconsequential, but talked to someone higher up, and they're like, oh, just it'll pass. Like he gets like this sometimes, just gotta deal with it until he gets over it. But I'm thinking about it, and I pretty much every single woman I've ever met who I've heard them talk about work has complained about this. Like somebody either disrespecting them, like to their face, like in a really like offensive way, or like another manager, usually a female, who doesn't like them and doesn't schedule them like as much, or they get put at like a sucky job position. Like at first at Chick-fil-A, I had a friend who they always put her at drive-thru, and she'd be there all day. But usually they would cycle it. Like they'd have like you'd be there for like an hour or two, then you'd change. But they'd put her there all day, and they just leave her there. And I know women who've worked at like daycares, and like older women will try to get them in trouble for like random reasons or like makeup crap. And the point is, I think that like women in the workplace, whether they're higher ups or women or men, they don't get respected like when they have problems, or the woman doesn't feel like they can talk about it, which is 90% of the time. I'm talking to them, I'm like, well, just say something. Like, no, I don't think it'll help, or I don't want to mess things up, or whatever. Like, it's really stupid. It makes me mad.
I understand.
I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused on what's the talking point.
I don't know. This is just what
Because
I've
to
been
me, I always my viewpoint has kind of been, at least lately, are you saying that people are being mean to you because you're a woman, or are people being mean to you because you just suck at what you're doing?
Well, I'm not a
So
woman.
they're not. No, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying like when women say these things like, oh, you know,
Well,
they're
and
just doing
man,
that because
let's both ways.
Well-
Because when people say, oh, well, they're not.
Well, yeah,
They're being
I
mean to
know.
me because I'm a man
Well-
or because I'm a woman. There's always that nagging question of, is that why?
well,
or are
yes,
you just
but-
annoying?
I answered
you
your
know?
question. Go ahead.
Yes, but I'm saying we're talking about feminism, so I'm not going to be cookie cutter.
Right, you're fine.
I'm saying women. And that's why I'm like, I think, and actually a huge issue that I've been kind of having with this whole Me Too movement lately is that it's like, you know, how can you justify that someone is not giving you a promotion, or not whatever you said about scheduling you? How can you say that it's because you're a woman and not just because of the person or the work ethic and skills that you bring to the table just aren't up to par as someone else? Like, what is it? I don't understand. I've never understood, for the most part, how that relates to gender, and I agree with you too, Michael, about the women not speaking up when they have something to say at work. But from personal experience, when I worked at a job in New York, my friend who was a girl, and she always spoke up about like if she felt like she deserved more money or should get promoted. Whenever she did, she would get whatever she had asked for because she just spoke up and did it. So I don't really know what makes women feel like they can't do that, but obviously none of us are women, so we can't really have an answer.
Yeah. Well, I'm also
I
not,
feel-
not saying that none of these women.
I do think we can-
I want to clarify real quick because this.
Well, we
is
can
important.
talk about it, but I'm saying
Like none of
how
these
they
women
have
have
this
said
perspective.
that they think it's because they're a woman. Like none of these girls that I've talked to have said that. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm a girl, they don't respect me. But I've noticed a pattern, like with women specifically. Like I hear these
Right.
stories from men, either like maybe like once, you know. Like I've worked construction, I've worked at churches, I worked fast food, I worked at amusement parks, I've worked a lot of different kinds of jobs, and I've never had a problem like this. If I have somebody who like I don't know, yells at me or something like that, it's never bad enough that I remember it the next day, you know? It's like, these aren't big deals to me. And if I have a problem, I'll say, hey, like, I don't want to do this. I don't get paid for this, so I'm not going to do it. Whatever. Like, it's always easy. But I've noticed, like, almost every woman that I know who I've ever heard talk about work, there's always, like, they don't get taken seriously, especially from other women. Like, every girl I know, like, my sister used to work at Busch Gardens. She was a lead at one of the rides. And when she would look at the schedule and it'd be all girls, she'd be like, oh, dang it. Because she knew it was going to be dramatic and sucky and whatever. Like,
That's kind of
I
funny.
don't know. I'm interested what you guys think about it. Because it's not like, I'm not trying to take a stance on it. But I'm pointing out that in the anecdotal evidence I've seen, women are not respected in the workplace by men or women. And maybe it's because they don't speak up enough. But it seems that when they do, they don't get listened to. I don't know. It's just interesting.
I guess my problem is like with a lot of my anecdotal evidence, it's like usually most people that I know are not being listened to, man or woman. I usually can tell why. You know, like they're maybe soft-spoken or and here's the thing. Like I said, men and women. Most people that I talk to, it's like
that's not nice.
they're soft. What's going
Not
on?
you, sorry.
We got someone in the chat. Also, don't distract Shane. someone's watching us live right now. So what I was saying is that like man or woman, I know that I've talked to people and it's like, well, you're not really very assertive. You don't sound very confident what you're saying. You're almost being too kind in the way you're approaching as opposed to saying what you want and then just putting it on them. And like, so I always wonder when someone says, well, I'm not taken seriously. It's like, well, I need to see the way what are you doing? Like that is a big factor of this.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. I think it definitely plays a part into it. It's just like what we mentioned before on the podcast that Jason or Jordan Peterson mentioned.
Jordan Peterson.
About how a lot of women like don't move up in companies like men do because women are less assertive and more agreeable than men. That's definitely an issue. Like I've definitely had conversations where I'm like, hey, you need to talk to them, and they're like, I don't know. But at the same time, like I'm not a particularly confrontational person.
To play devil's advocate,
I've also never had these problems.
To play devil's advocate, it could be that they don't know, like they're less likely to be assertive because they are usually not taken as seriously. Like I'll give that out.
Yeah,
you know?
but
so like maybe I'm more aggressive and assertive because it works for me, so I do it more. So I'm like, yeah, just do it. Just go ask them because it works for me all the time. But I'm also
that's literally all you have to do is say something.
But I do know that I've had very what we're talking about, just for the audience, is the big 5 personality traits, and one of them is agreeableness. And agreeable people tend to make sure that if in a negotiation that the other person gets what they want, basically. A disagreeable person is going to make sure that they get what they want. And there's different like spectrums of how much you are of agreeableness and disagreeable. But disagreeable people tend to have higher salaries and get promotions more often because they fight for what they want more. They're like, no, I don't care. I want that promotion, so I don't care that you're uncomfortable. I'm going to keep going to your office every day until I can get you to give me that promotion, or I'll get fired. But either way, I'm going to try and get that. So some people are more agreeable than others, and on average, I think men are more disagreeable than women. And there is an argument of like, is that socially constructed or not? Or is it just the way it is? And if it is, why? But that's sort of a factor in a lot of this. It's like, how agreeable is the person?
Totally.
Yeah. Plays a huge role.
Are the people that you're talking to, Michael? Actually, real quick, Shane, let me ask Michael one thing real quick. So, are the women that you're talking to, I know it's anecdotal evidence, I'm trying to think of like their work history would be something that I would want to know. Yeah. Their the way they act in school, like kind of the way that they study, the way that they interact with the teacher and with their students and their friends, and then what job they have currently. So as an example, if somebody tends to work maybe in lower end parts of the job, like let's just say if there's a bunch of people and you work at the bottom, like you're the lowest level of I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. The lowest level of the employee.
Like entry level employee.
Yeah, entry level. That's what I was trying to say. If you're if you're always entry level, I can see that you're not used to really pushing for the respect that maybe you could get. Like for me, I've been entry level, but I've also been higher up. So when I'm in my job, sometimes I know, no, I'm going to call out my boss and tell him I don't like what he's doing because I don't think it's being fair to me and my contract, because I am an employee. I have a contract saying I will work for this person for these reasons. And so my experience kind of changes the way I approach certain situations.
Yeah. Well, also like, to the point I think you're making is I don't think it's just feminism or not feminism. Obviously, tons of things go into it, and I think a lot of it just happen to be how these women are. But the I don't know all their job histories, obviously, but from what I understand, like it's everything from like athletic coaching to like fast food, retail, like nannying.
Are
like,
any of them corporate jobs? Because
most of them are not corporate jobs, and most of these women like are like were in college or like before college or did go to college.
Okay.
So that's also a thing too. Because it was just like at the time, like most of the girls I hung out around that time where I heard all this stuff was we were all still in college and stuff.
Do you think it's because they're women?
I think it's one of the factors. I don't think it's straight up like someone looks at them and doesn't respect them because they're a woman. But
Because
I know like
I do
well,
think
right,
that
so.
there are men out there, I think, that do discriminate against women.
Totally. And I think
Sure,
often it's like it's subconsciously. I don't think everyone's trying to be sexist or whatever. But one thing that I noticed too is like, all right, so say like, a common example I hear is that like a manager or like a fellow employee is like being disrespectful to other employees, and like I've heard several times where like they'll tell their manager, and the guy's maybe the guy's not even being like, he's not sexually harassing them, whatever, but he's just being like really insensitive and like really I don't know, just unprofessional and weird.
I know that for me, this is my anecdotal evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do talk to women. I can't tell if I talk to women differently, but I do know that there's a lot of women out there that I've talked to, and when I talk to them the way I talk to men, they get really pissed off. So it's just like, I don't think it's like a weird dynamic. Like for
That's a
me,
good
when
point.
I like most
Wait,
of my
hold on one
friends,
second.
like, hold on.
Okay. Well, that's a good point. But the point I was trying to make
I thought you were putting me on hold. I was like, we need to hold on a second.
The point I was trying to say real quick, it was that I think if the women talked to the guy that way, it'd be a different conversation. They'd be like, "Whoa, you need to like stop being so dramatic or whatever."
Actually,
That's what I was
Shane,
thinking.
you were going to say something too, and I stopped you. Did you want to say that real quick? If
I don't think I remember.
Okay,
what I was
sorry.
gonna say.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. But I mean, when my friends, like my friends that are girls.
Oh, I do remember. I
Okay,
do.
go ahead.
I know. I was just gonna say that I feel that women are more agreeable, I guess, to say when it comes to like whatever the thing we were talking about before, because that's how society I don't want to say trains them, but like that's how they're kind of expected to be, or that's how they have been expected to be. And I think a lot like you said, they're agreeable, so that a lot of women are just easier to just go along with that instead of
Right.
Pushing for more and saying, I mean, yeah, okay, sure, and history says that I'm most likely not going to get this, or it's not, or whatever, but that doesn't mean that
But I see.
I should stop myself from doing it.
I
And
see
think a
it.
lot more women need that type of mentality.
The issue I have with it is that it's like, okay, women are kind of expected to be a certain way. Men
Everyone is.
tends to expect
Right.
women to maybe not speak up as much. Okay, so I get that, understand it. But the thing that I tend to have an issue with feminism is it's like, okay, so women tend to be less or more agreeable, maybe not as assertive on average. I feel like that goes without saying, and everybody knows it, so I don't know why, just saying. On average, okay?
Yes.
But feminism seems to, like right now, third wave feminism seems to say that women are less assertive and more agreeable, and that's my fault, like me. And it's like, why is that my fault? That sounds like it's your problem. Now I'll help my friends out, but I'm not going to be guilty because people out there, man or women, are less assertive and more agreeable. Like,
Yeah.
that's not something that I'm going to take the responsibility for. Like
Yeah,
I said, I'll
I
help
agree.
people out, but it's not
you should.
my fault. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Right. And even if like men as a whole throughout history have been doing it, it's still not your fault. It's still not most of our men who are alive
Yeah.
right now's fault.
It's not.
But also,
I don't
Luke-
believe in taking the sins of the fathers, really. If my dad did something or my grandfather did
that has
something,
no reflection of me.
I will help people. So like let's say my grandfather did something, okay? And it hurt somebody in my generation. So my grandfather did something to someone else's grandfather and it trickles down, and now I'm profiting off of what my grandfather did and the other person is not doing so well, okay? If I'm friends with them and if it's the right situation, I would try to help the person as a gift. I'd be like, let me help. I'm sorry that this person did this to you. I'm going to try and help you and help out the damage that was done by this other person. But as soon as it's like, I expect you to do it for me because something you didn't do, and to me that's weird. It's like, I didn't do it, so why am I responsible for it? Let me do it by choice. Don't
point.
force me to do it.
But dude, Luke, I thought you had a good point earlier when you were talking about. Can you talk again when you were saying when you talk to women the same way you talk to men at work, they get pissed off?
It's not women at work because I try to be pretty professional at work, so people don't get pissed off at me at all. But when I'm with my friends, a lot of women I know, because I know a lot of really cool women, we get along just fine. I talk to them the way I talk to my guy friends. Sometimes they get excited. Maybe I interrupt them a little bit, whatever. So I have my flaws, but it's both flaws with men and women. But sometimes there's a few girls, especially ones that tend to be more feminists, that are like, you interrupt me and you don't let me finish talking. And it's like, dude, that's true for everyone. It's not because you're a woman. It's because you're my friend and I'm not perfect. And so they get kind of pissed at me for not making special rules when talking to them. And I think that's them like looking for me being a misogynist, even though I'm not.
Right.
Well, I think also that may be not even feminism, but like more of like social and like emotional like intelligence. Like obviously you have it because at work you know how to talk to people and different like men and women and different people to like get what you want and be kind and patient and stuff. But like I don't know, like I feel like a lot of people in the workplace, they lack emotional intelligence or they just don't care. Because obviously if I have an employee, like male or female, that's really sensitive, I'm going to talk to them in a way that will make them listen to me and not get upset and actually hear what I have to say and not in a way that distracts people. Because that's part of professionalism too. Like if you're working somewhere where everybody like jokes harshly and like they like to yell at each other, like, hey, do this thing. That's just the culture there. That's fine. Do that. And if someone comes in and they can't hang, they don't have to work there. But at the same time, if someone comes in and like they're working there, you need to communicate with them. You need to communicate them in a way they understand. That's how like society works.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like sexism that an old man manager is mean to like a young girl at work. It's not because he's sexist. Maybe it's because he's an idiot. He's a retard. He doesn't know how to like.
Well, it could be.
communicate with other
Here's the
people.
thing: is it could be sexism.
Could
I
be.
think the
Right.
problem is like feminism tends to say it always is.
It
But also,
is.
you
At
know,
least,
like, you
or
know,
let's say,
theory.
actually, let
Old
me be
people
fair. Let me
suck,
be
and
fair.
old people
Let me
are the worst.
let me steel man, not straw man. Okay, so feminism, I don't think always says it is, but feminism tends to say it's more likely sexism than not sexism, and I tend to think it's more likely not sexism than sexism. But and I think I'm allowed to have that opinion too. I just look at people in general, and I don't know. Nick, what do you think? You've been kind of quiet.
He's been really quiet.
Well, just because I'm thinking,
Oh,
That's
bad.
good. That's a good
anyone
start.
that should, if anyone should be talking about this topic, it's definitely me. I have criticisms more so of third wave feminism and patriarchy and feminist theory.
Can you
And-
talk about the different waves of feminism? Do you know much about those?
So, first wave feminism, I'm actually not very familiar with at all. Second wave feminism had more to do with like equal rights.
That was in like the 60s though, wasn't it? When were these different waves of feminism?
Well, I mean, some people don't refer to it as like waves. Some of it just refer to as always positive about women. But it's all these different women's movements that have happened. It's just like women getting the right to vote, women to getting equal rights in a lot of different areas of just like human rights in general. and different movements that have happened in different countries. Like that's kind of what these waves of feminism are, but it's basically
just FYI, I just looked it up. It's the first wave of feminism was in the 1900s, so 1900 to 1950.
Right.
The second one was 60s to 80s. The third one says 90s to 2008. And then this is the fourth, I guess, is 2008 to present day.
right. And so now in the third wave, we're at a point now where
Fourth wave, I guess, is what it
or
is.
third to fourth wave, right? Exactly. Now
Doesn't
in
matter.
this-
Sorry, just
new
clarifying.
age. Well, just the new age is more where my criticisms lie. And there you go. I'm just seeing in the chat. First wave was the right to vote, and second was the sexual liberation, so like birth control. And these different waves have affected the way, feminism in general has affected the lives of women everywhere across the world. And so now we're in this new age where we're going very meta in our criticisms of society. And so patriarchy theory and third, I guess, fourth wave feminism, whatever the new movement is, a little radical and interesting.
A
to
little
me.
bit. A little.
I just
Sometimes.
Well, it's the criticisms of the structures of like our society. So the West is a patriarchy that men dominate and take over, and it's built into the structure. I think a famous feminist, Kate McKinnon, said the patriarchy is so within our Western structure that it's impossible for us to see it because it's part of our
See,
everyday
what
lives.
is this? That's what I don't understand is this patriarchy thing.
Yeah, and that's where my criticisms lie.
I think it's like,
Because I agree with like everything in first and second wave feminism.
so like let's
part of
think
me
about
doesn't
this.
agree with this next
Right.
wave.
Let's deconstruct this a little bit, because I want to be fair, and I do think that there are plenty of advantages in this life, in this world, to being a man. I think there's certain things you can do more. There's certain things that there's things expected of you. It's different. Like there's benefits to being a man. However, and then I think there's disadvantages to being a woman in some ways, right? Like if you wanted to do one thing,
Yeah, I think anyone would agree
it
with
might be
that.
easier if you were a man, and it might be harder if you're a woman. Okay,
And
I
vice
understand
versa, right? I think that's
exactly.
The idea.
The problem I have is that I do see it going both ways. So like when you're as a man, society-wise, if you are weak, men will not respect you, and women will not respect you. You know, if a woman is weak, women might not respect them, but men don't really care, because we kind of for the most part want to be protecting a woman. Like that just is the way we tend to be, I think. And so that's kind of a double standard, but we can't really fix that, I don't think. But I'm not going to complain about it because it's just kind of the way things are. And I don't think it's really fixable.
It's interesting to think about it that way, though.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's like, okay, fine. If we want this stuff to be fair, if that's what feminism really is, if we want everything to be equal, we have to bring down the walls on both sides. You know, because
And I
men
think
have
there's a
advantages
lot of
and women have
walls.
advantages. Like
And
you
I
can
think
look
there's
at
a lot of walls there, right?
So I
That's
was like,
kind
all
of the
right,
idea.
what's the deal with all the men in prison not equal?
Right.
We got to start putting more women in prison. You know, like that's silly. But that's kind of the way we look at it. Like, well, there's too many men CEOs. We need more women. And it's like, but why? Why are there more CEOs? Why are there more men in prison? Why are there more men that are CEOs? Win and lose. So what's up with that?
And I'm sure like one of the reasons is like discrimination. I'm sure there is that, but I think there's a lot more going on, and I feel like this next wave of feminism is kind of attacking these things that I don't know if we how do I say this without sounding kind of weird? We as limited creatures to our biology can like address in some ways, and I think I don't know.
So we have an audience question.
What do you guys
So-
think of this idea? You can tell how free a society is by how they treat their women. Yeah.
So I think that
think
question
that's
kind of goes
true.
back to like what I was trying to say in the beginning. because I didn't. This conversation is definitely farther than when I wanted it to be, but it's okay. It's a group.
It's farther
But-
than probably where anyone wanted it to be.
Yeah, I don't really want to go there because that's just like a can of worms. Is how we get in trouble and how,
Right.
Yeah, but one thing I do think is interesting is just like the way that society like respects or doesn't respect women. Like this might sound really sexist. People are gonna hate it. I personally think it's good. My mom complimented me today for saying this, but I think that like a big like responsibility for men like in the world is to like take care of women. Not that they need to be taken care of, but that women are like important to our society. And like you can't tell how free society is by how they treat the women because like there's lots of countries where you can look at it, the women are oppressed. They aren't able to like wear normal clothing. They aren't able to work. They aren't able to do anything without a husband. Like that sucks, and no one wants
like,
to move there.
if we
no one's
flip
like,
it-
dude, I should go there. I live in America now. I'm so free. I should go over there where like women can't do stuff. And I'm a man, but I know that
The
sucks.
thing
Like,
about it is, I think that men should protect women, and I think that women should protect men, but just in kind of a different way. So, like with men, like this is the way I can see it. So, I am doing my best to be a good man, right? To be a good person, okay? And if I see bad men that are trying to hurt women, whether it's physically or whatever, psychologically, whatever it is, then I want to stop them because I think that I'm trying my best to be a good person.
Right.
But on the flip side, it's like I don't like the feminism movement calling me a bad man because I'm a man. Especially when I see, like, it's like me. I'm the bad guy. I'm the misogynist somehow. And it's like, I want to be friends with women. I want to take care of women. I want women to have all the same opportunities that I have. It's like, I want the same. But I am just not going to take the blame that I don't think I deserve. And that's a
yeah,
like a
I feel
pride
you.
thing. It's
So
like, that's
do you-
not fair.
I know you live in Seattle, so it's possible. Do you actually like have that happen to you, or do you just feel that way from like what you see
Seattle,
in the media?
I've said this before,
people saying on
Seattle
social
is
media?
a big bubble. It's an echo chamber where they all kind of believe the same thing, and everyone's a little bit too intense about it, so it's just a mess. And so I do hear it. You know, I've talked to very extreme feminists about this stuff. It doesn't usually end very productively, so I haven't talked about it lately. But
Can you
they-
give an example
stop.
of when it,
well,
like what happened?
So they believe that, like we were talking about, like the patriarchy. I was talking to this one girl, and she really believes that the patriarchy is this really big thing, that men have been pushing women down tyrannically forever, and now women are finally breaking out of that. Like it's almost like the slaves getting freed type thing. It's like this whole time we've been trapped, and now we're getting out. And I think that everyone had life difficult before, just in general. So it's like, well, women weren't allowed to vote. It's like, well, men went to war. They got drafted. Women didn't get drafted. If I could choose one of the two, you know, those both suck. But I mean, at the time, if it's like, well, you know, you don't get too concerned about whether or not you can vote if you don't have any food. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's like that hierarchy of, what's that psychological thing of needs?
Hierarchy
where
of
it's like,
needs.
yeah, whatever it's
Right.
called.
Food,
you know, where it's
shelter,
like
community.
like now
love,
we're at a
purpose.
point where we're
The
like,
essentials.
okay, I want to what's something trivial that we're fighting about right now in general, like politically?
Sexual allegations?
I want to harass
Well, that's
a
not
woman.
that's not really trivial.
Oh, you
I
said
just mean
trivial?
yeah, I was like, no, that's not trivial.
How about actors having like a grasp on politics, arguing about actors,
Yeah,
actors' thoughts? Taylor Swift versus Kanye, that's happening. Right?
it's
The fact that
awesome.
we're arguing about two celebrities and their political views is kind of silly.
No, well, I
right?
mean, like, it's the fact that we have. Here's the thing. Here's a good example. Okay, social media. So we care about how many likes we get, how many retweets we get,
I
the
see,
attention we get. But that's so trivial because it's like, do you really think you would care if your Facebook status got likes if you had no food?
Yeah,
The fact that we have food and we have money and we have a job.
At this point where we are in society, I think most people probably would.
Yeah, really. Well, we're at that point. But I think that I feel like I've been talking a lot. So
You're fine.
I want you guys to talk some more. I want you
Process
guys to be
your
part of
thoughts.
this.
It's fine.
Michael, what are you thinking?
Texting your brother. I think
Yeah, wait. This chat debate that you guys have going on, we got to stop this because this is. I want you guys to be a part. I want you to be present for this.
He's a chat to me. He's asking me. What's not a question? Me.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, we're saying is that I think people like the hierarchy of needs. All right, I got you. So they're saying that like women were allowed to vote, they weren't allowed to do this and that. You're like, well, men had to go to war, men had to like work hard and provide all this stuff. Like,
well, we could get drafted,
struggle,
we could get forced into war, but women.
Even though it's not the same struggle, men had struggles too, and I feel that. But
I think every single person in the past had horrible struggles. Like we live in heaven compared to people in the past.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, right?
It's not
we've gotten a lot. We've gotten a lot better.
But I think there is truth to saying that, like, at least throughout history, that women have been oppressed more than men. Like, women have been oppressed in countries where men have been free. That's definitely a fact. Like, you look at, like, even the Bible, the way women were treated is, like, so different than how you treat women now. If you know, like, a woman couldn't own property without her husband.
Right.
A woman could literally commit a crime, and if her husband said it was okay, she didn't have to pay the penalty for it because women were not seen as people.
Right.
The same
Which,
way.
I mean, that, I think, requires feminism. Right?
Yeah.
That
like,
is a situation. But it's the thing is,
right.
it's like that's where feminism is fine because it's like equal rights, right? The right to vote, the right to own property, all these different things. The problem is it's like, okay, we got all that now. And now it's like, I want the right to, in some ways, it's like I want all the rights that men have regardless of the way I act. I think. Well, I don't know if I want to say that. That's kind of a strong.
I don't know.
statement.
That's what they're saying. Maybe some people are saying that, but I don't think most people say that.
What is it that women don't have right now that men do have legally?
I think what women think it is I don't think there's any particular law they think is against them, but I think they feel like they're systematically treated unequally just by the quote-unquote establishment, by the man, which I don't think is unfounded. And it might, like we talked about earlier, it might just be because of the way they act. Maybe they're just like, they don't push hard enough to get what they want. Maybe they're pushovers. Like, that is totally a thing. But at the same time, as men, and especially the view that we seem to be taking, like that, like men are protectors and stuff. As men, we need to take the responsibility to, like, serve women and communicate with them in a way that makes sense for them, and maybe adjust things so that people who play differently can still succeed in life.
Well, I mean, I know that
it's not super easy. Like, it's not like if there's like short people in the NBA, you have to make
right. I was going to say that there is there's like heightism is a thing.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. It's like someone could be born 6'5", and they are probably going to have more opportunities than someone who's born 5'6" or something.
Yeah, totally.
Because people who are taller get more respect, more they tend to be more. I think on average, like, they're more successful because they're intimidating, they're bigger, they're taller, and so it's like
in every presidential election,
do we have to penalize them now? Should we penalize them? And I don't think you should.
No.
So that's where you got to say, okay, is this legally a problem or like subconsciously a problem?
Well,
if I was like, there's a
everything is
bias
different,
against
though.
people who are 5'10", not fair. I want to start attacking, the opinions of everyone because it's not fair that shorter men, are not allowed to do as much, or they're not allowed the same opportunities. Check your height privilege, sir.
Yeah.
I don't believe we can really go down this road, but I think it's a road people keep kind of pushing.
The problem is people look at it as like we have to do this to everything, where that's not true. That's retarded. I'm sorry, that's not retarded. I meant gay. That's gay. I was kidding. That's silly because everything is different, and a lot of things that the left criticize the right about is not being able to see nuance. At the same time, like the feminist movement in the way that you're describing right now, where they want to like go hard to the other extreme and like we need to like be put above men or whatever, like we need to get opportunities that men have and take it from them and give it to us. That's not how you fix anything. Like if you have
it's dangerous.
3 children, if you have 3 children and one of them is hitting the other people with a stick, are you a good parent if you take away the stick from the one child and say, hey, don't hit your friends with a stick? Or are you a better parent if you give them all sticks? Like, every situation is different. Also, both of those situations could make you a good parent or a bad parent. It depends. But, like, it's not like you can just have one blanket answer to every problem. And it sucks because people do think the way you talk about, Luke, where it's like, oh, well, now we have to, like, now we have to make everyone who is tall like they have to like pay extra taxes because they make up for their tallness, or short people should
for
get more
height
jobs,
privilege.
or like women should be required to date a guy like under this height for whatever. Like
Yeah, well,
that's
you know,
dumb.
it's like even like the whole. I feel like a lot of people want things without working for them, where it's like no one owes anybody respect. Respect is earned. That's not me, by the way. I heard that from somebody. Respect
Yeah.
is something that's earned.
It's a pretty classic quote. So
You know, and it's true. You know,
yeah, it's a truism.
I think a lot of people don't think that way anymore. It's like you should just like me and think and tell me the good things. You shouldn't say anything mean about me, and you should respect me no matter what. And it's like, well, that's not how it works. If you're doing something, you shouldn't have to explain to me and tell me that I have to respect you the same way. And this isn't me talking specifically about me. I'm just talking about people like in general.
Yeah.
Where it's like if I went up to Michael and said, Michael, you have to respect me because you're just not allowed to not do it. It's like that's not how it works. It should be, Michael, you have to respect me, otherwise I will not be your friend because I have self-esteem and I'm not friends with people that don't have the same respect for me
Amen.
that I give to them.
Yes.
right.
You see what I mean?
I
And
just
so
had that conversation.
yeah, so
Really?
it's like I don't need to respect everyone. I respect people that are worthy of my respect.
Mm-hmm. Preach about it.
I feel like I've been preaching. This whole episode. Reverend Luke, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
you
the
You had
point.
a lot.
It's hard.
That's so,
ahead, man.
so funny.
I didn't think I was
No,
going
you
to
just
say
had a lot
anything.
to say. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
You were saying earlier, like I'm not thinking clearly, and then you just kind of went off there. But I
Yeah.
thought there was a lot of truth there. So
Yeah, and it's hard to articulate.
And
'cause
I
people-
think
Go ahead,
I
man.
also think I just think that's a very important rule of life for everyone to follow. What Luke just said, you should only like respect the people. Say it again, Luke? How did you phrase it?
Well, it's like worthy of respect or something. I don't know how I said it exactly.
I
was in the
earn
moment. I was speaking just.
You should only respect the people worthy of your respect. I think it was something like that, which I think is true because not everyone deserves it, and you shouldn't give it to everyone, especially when
Right.
they don't give it back to you.
Respect is a value. You
It
know,
is.
and if everyone gets respect just
It's a
automatically,
privilege.
it nets
Yeah,
to
it's a
zero. It's not
privilege.
valuable.
right.
Well, it's I don't even know if it's sort of a privilege in a way, but it's almost like
Well,
I feel cheated in a way if I believe that I deserve respect and someone's not giving it to me. And so because it's like no, I am giving you respect. I am acting in such a way that society kind of deems as respectful. I do all these things like I believe I deserve X amount of respect. And if someone doesn't give me that amount of respect, then I tend to be like, well, then I'm not going to be friends with you because I respect. Yeah, I'm serious. Like,
Yeah.
if I gave Shane,
Yeah, I
or
got
Shane,
you, yeah.
if Shane gave me a respect of 80, let's just give it a number, right? 80 respect, and I gave him 60 respect, Shane would be like, well, hold up now. This isn't a fair trade. We're not giving each other the same amount of respect here. We're friends. We need to level this out. And if you don't level it out, then it's like, all right, well, my condition with people is we give each other the same level of respect or we're not friends.
I agree.
How in the world am I talking about this with feminism? I don't even remember how I got
Well,
here.
because I think that's the point that
That's the
should be
respect
made is
thing.
that
That's like
Yeah.
that's like a greater thing than just like
Yeah,
don't
that-
worry about gender. Like worry about respect. Like these are
I think,
important
and I think that's
things
what real
for
feminists
everyone.
mean. Like real feminists are talking about, hey, just respect me like you'd respect anybody else.
But I did.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I think a lot of people do though.
they do
I don't-
respect
well,
each other.
I don't know.
I don't think.
I think that's.
I don't.
I think in a lot of ways that's true. And
me think about
in some
this.
ways it's false. So
Yeah, I mean, if you go to like what I
Yeah.
was saying before, it seems
It's a
like some
case
people
by
don't
case.
respect others just because. But I mean, I also at the same time, like, I've never really been disrespected in a way that mattered to me. If that makes sense. Like, I've had people be jerks to me, whatever, but I don't really care. But obviously, there are people out there who have been treated in a way that really affects them, and there are people out there who are like so disrespectful that's causing problems in their work. Because it's also like in the examples I gave, it's not the problem isn't that like someone is being mean to this other person. It's not even personal. It's like people are like at workplaces acting disrespectful, acting unprofessional, and certain people are just getting like their problems swept under the rug. It's like whatever, it'll go away. Just deal with it until he gets more like it's better, it gets more agreeable, whatever. Like that's a also systemic problem of like disrespect. I think that also comes from when you work at an entry level job or something where you're not like literally anyone can do your job. You don't have respect as a worker because they can just replace you with anybody. But when you're doing something that only you can do or that takes a lot of skill, then you actually get respected more.
Right, which is
Like,
actually, I think, correct in some ways because
It is. I mean,
you
it
build
definitely
yourself up.
makes sense.
The thing about it too, though, I know that it'd be fun to actually have like a strong feminist on this podcast. Just throwing that out there
I'm strong.
because I'd
I'm
like
a
to hear
feminist.
what they say. I'm strong. No, but I mean,
I'm not a strong feminist. I'm strong and I love women. Kidding.
I'm a feminist, but I'm just not a third wave feminist, I guess. So that's the label I would apply myself.
I just don't like. I don't like it. I don't like the word. It's soiled.
Well, the word,
You know?
the word.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
understand.
spoiled.
That's why
Yeah.
I stopped calling myself that because like it's just the word is gone.
Not
You know,
great. Yeah.
And so, but the thing that I see is I just don't like I'm pretty objective. I try to be at least. Everyone has their confirmation bias and their bias, but I try to be fair. And I don't like seeing an unlevel playing field. I've never liked that, and that's one of the reasons politics are so irritating to me. But what I don't like is saying you're a man, so you don't know what it's like to be a woman. But then when it's flipped around, I say, but I'm a man and you're a woman, so you don't really understand what it's like to be a man. And they go, that doesn't matter. Everything works out great for you. And it's like, what? How does that even make sense?
Which
Now, I know,
also
and it's like the
isn't
only
true.
reason you think
Which
that.
also isn't true. We need to make that very clear. That's not true. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you get whatever
I know, like,
you want.
it's like, shh, man, keep it
course not.
quiet. My little gold coins that I get every day from the government because I'm a man. Like, that doesn't exist. But I mean, I do think if people are listening to this podcast right now and I have to clarify every little thing that I'm saying and I'm getting no benefit of the doubt, then I don't want you to listen to the podcast anyway. Because obviously, this is complicated what we're talking about. And
It is complicated. That's a good way of putting it.
I can't, well, I just like, if it's like a tree where there's like a whole bunch of branches of different things that branch into other things, which branch into other things. So any topic, I can go like, okay, we're going to cover this giant topic with all these different pieces, and I'm going to go down this one little branch. And then every time you go down a branch, people go, what? You're only talking about that. You didn't go on the other branches. And it's like, I can't talk about it all at once because it's complicated. So
It is.
if I say men have problems that women don't have,
Right.
it's understood, I hope, it goes without saying, I hope, that men have some advantages that women don't have, and men have some disadvantages, and women have some advantages. I'm not saying one's more or equal or less than the other, but I don't like that I have to explain that because of the assumptions that people do when I make a statement. And that's why it's almost not worth it to me to even debate this stuff, because people hear something different than what I said
I
because
think you
they
say
want
that at every conversation we have. Every
What?
topic we ever talked about.
yeah.
It's true.
Because I get really
think it's
passionate
you.
because I really get irritated about it because it's like, hear what I said. Don't take what I said and make it your confirmation bias and make me say something I didn't say and then hold me to that level. That's really irritating to me, which is why I'm so fired up. All right, I didn't think I was going to be the one ranting, but I just.
You're here first, Luke.
Oh man, I can't help it.
I mean, there's a lot with what you said I definitely agree with, and yeah, I hope there's context here that people understand. People
And
listen
honestly,
to the whole thing.
People like
They're
don't
not.
listen.
They're gonna
It's their
see.
fault
They're gonna
anyway.
see feminism. Four guys talk about feminism
And say sexism. Yeah,
Hey,
you're right.
sexist, you misogynistic piece of man. You suck my.
Piece of men.
Piece of men.
Piece of men.
No, it's
I
so
like
funny
that.
because it's like
It's a good insult. It's a good
No,
insult.
The
people don't
bleep
even
is
listen to
bad.
the episode, and it's like, oh, you guys hate women. And it's just like, I give up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Outro music.
Outro music. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well-
I don't even know if we reached any conclusions. We just kind of talked
We
about
did
it.
it.
There are no-
It's
It's
kind of
just a
hard to
compli-
reach a
it's a
conclusion
complicated
without.
I'm just trying to say respect people, man. And
Yeah, be
if you're not being
nice.
respected, do
Everyone
something
should
about
be
it.
treated. Yeah, everyone should be treated fairly and equally, and everyone should have the same chance at an opportunity as everyone else. But if you don't get something, it's most probably not because of your gender, or that should not be your first thought that you associate with that. You should
like
look
a
at
reaction.
yourself.
It should be an instant.
Yeah, you should look and be like, okay, well, what in my performance or what in my life or whatever area this problem seems to be coming up for you, to evaluate what you can kind of do in that situation instead of immediately throwing the blame onto someone else and taking the easy road out by calling it sexist or,
Right.
I almost said something really bad.
And that's not to say that, your gender has nothing to do with the situation. It's
And
just
that's not to say it's not sexist at some
Once
times.
again, it goes without
evaluate.
saying. It goes without
Right.
saying that sexism does exist.
yeah.
It does.
Yes.
Okay?
Correct.
There are people out there that are sexist. The problem is you will only hurt yourself if you assume something is sexist and it isn't, and it's actually something wrong with you. Okay? So if I assume I didn't get the job interview because I was interviewed by a woman and she's sexist, when really
Right.
I just suck at doing interviews, I will not get better at interviews because I'm blaming someone else that shouldn't be blamed. And so, like I said, sexism does exist sometimes. I don't know how much, but it does exist. But it also doesn't exist, and people should be nervous about that. Because a lot of people are blaming everything on sexism, or racism, or whatever other prejudice there are.
It's not something
which
you
do
want to be
exist,
wrong about.
But it's like, yeah, you really do yourself a disservice if you
gotta be
blame someone
careful.
else for your
Yeah.
own problems.
Yeah, you got to be careful. That's not something you want to be wrong about. It's
Right.
just
Final words. Austin just said something in the chat to have everyone say their final words. Shane, did you want to say more, or was that a good summary of what you wanted to finish up with? Because you just talked just now.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of very good. Yeah, that's kind of a good summary.
This is the Luke Roxwall podcast, brought to you
Heck
by
yeah.
everyone else.
And also too, if if you are going to, claim the feminist title, which means, the equality of sexes, then that should be what you want, because I've seen a lot of people who want the exact opposite. They think men are the hierarchy and they want to just overthrow every single man that exists in their life. And that's the total opposite of what we should be trying to do. So just evaluate your situation. Don't jump to conclusions. And let's all just try to get along because we love each other. Amen, right?
Amen.
Amen. There it is.
Amen. There we go,
A
Reverend
women.
Shane.
Oh, no.
That's
I will
right.
love. Hey, wait a minute.
A
Someone's
person.
triggered.
I am off the podcast. A person.
Oh, man.
Hey, person.
Beautiful. I wish we could just end there. But, Michael, do you have anything you'd like to say as a final word?
Yeah, man, just respect people, man. Just don't be a retard. Like, if someone said,
There
hey,
it is.
don't treat me this way, like, don't do it. If someone says, hey, don't call me retard, don't do it. If someone says, hey, I communicate like this, let's try to communicate so we can both understand.
Yes.
Just do that. If someone's like, hey,
Amen.
this person's being a jerk in my workplace, they're being really unprofessional, instead of being like, oh, it's okay, just it'll blow over, just be like, okay, I'll handle that. Because if someone can't keep their emotions in check at work, they're being unprofessional and they should be fired because they suck.
Right. Okay,
That's it.
Nick, what about you?
I agree with everything said. I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm trying to be tame
Yes, I agree.
and careful, but ultimately my objections lie on a deeper meaning, and we can talk about that. We can talk about biology, gender roles, and go super meta again.
Biologically, women are just not as good as men. Just the best.
And there it is.
It's like we say
we
all
just
this
undid
constructive
this
stuff.
entire
No.
podcast.
We
in
say
one
all
fell
this
swoop.
constructive stuff, and then it's just like, so we all agree men are better? Okay.
And that's,
right,
every
cool.
soundbite, everyone
glad
who
we're
like
all
talks to you about this
agreement.
podcast
And if people
is gonna
don't get
mention this stat.
sarcasm, that's your
That's what they're
problem.
gonna say. So, no, I love everyone, and don't be an asshole.
That's really what it comes down to. It's like, don't
Love
be a
is the
mean
answer.
person. Right.
Be a heart hole.
Yeah.
So I would say, I think that we should do things, or Oh shoot! I had all this time to think about this, and then I started listening to you guys and kind of forgot. This isn't really the way I want to end the podcast because I feel like I've said this stuff before, and it taps into things where it's like, whoa, you don't think there's any sexism, feminism, so I don't know. I think that this topic is complicated. Biology, the society, people, everything, and I think it's worth talking about. So I'm actually kind of excited and happy that
We did talk about it.
yeah, a little bit, and we only scratched the surface.
Yeah,
But I think we're
really
being
did.
fair, and I would love to hear if anyone thinks otherwise. Because in the end, I want us to be fair and honest, and yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what I'm saying. I ranted so much, I think I ranted myself out. So let's end the episode, gentlemen. Plugs, Nick.
Me, I am, as always, at I Love Drummond. That is I Love Drummond, no G at the end, at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I don't really upload on YouTube. It's too much work. I mostly do Instagram, and now I'm doing a lot of Instagram stories because I'm trying to practice crazy songs.
Drum video.
So I'm trying to do insane stuff now just because, I don't know, I'm bored with what I'm doing
Following
currently.
a polyrhythm saga.
It's a journey. Live independence, that's something. So I don't know. I don't really have time to practice anymore, so I'm just like, screw it. I'm just gonna do crazy stuff because that'll push me in the limited amount of time I have to practice.
Efficiency.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. So yeah, follow me on there, and ignore my Twitter. I don't really post on there either. I'm thinking of getting rid of Facebook, honestly. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, just follow me on the Instagram, Michael Dimas, MyKolDimas, and you'll see the things that I do, all up in there. Yep.
Shane.
All up in there.
You can check out the podcast that I host called the Pop Talk Podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. We actually just put out it's already out, but we put out we did an interview with this speaking of feminism, this online, or the owners of this online women's clothing store called Faith and Purpose Clothing. So we talked to them, and it was a really great time. So that's going to be on the podcast. So that's SoundCloud and iTunes, and then we also will have the video cast coming out of that, and also we have some exclusive behind the scenes content with them coming as well. A lot of cool pop talk stuff coming, because we also have another podcast coming out too about the American Music Awards. A lot of cool pop talk stuff
nice.
happening. We're just we're building things up. I'm in talks of finally getting like a social media manager person, because it's just too much to do by myself. So I feel like once I do that, I can do a lot more things. I'll feel a lot less stressed about certain areas. So I'm kind of just building up what we're doing and trying to bring some new people onto the team so we can expand and do cool new things. So check that out. Follow me on Twitter, Mr. McCatty. It's also my Instagram, MRMCCATTY. Talk to me, I'm lonely.
If you officially have a manager, that means you're famous now, Shane.
Well, no, not. No one's managing me. I'm my own manager. I'm my own CEO, my own
social
boss.
media manager.
Don't ever get it twisted. Yeah.
Right, no, I got you.
Yeah. But that
Mr.
person would
Manager.
just be like in charge of just all that type of posting and content, followers and contests and yada yada yada.
Oh no. our
What?
chat. My
Do you have a
brother just-
woman
my-
manager?
No.
Woman
no,
manager?
A woman manager.
No, this person.
Why
this
is it gotta be a
person-
manager, not
Oh
a
my
woman manager?
gosh.
This
It's a
person is not
personager.
a woman. This person is not a woman, but I do have a lot of women on my team because I'm an equal opportunist. So, boom.
Laka.
That's good to hear.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Luke Roxwold, LukeRockswold. What?
I totally forgot to say too. I'm gonna be vlogging this weekend, and Luke's gonna be editing my vlog.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Shay, do it!
So we'll see.
Finally.
We'll see what comes
Finally.
from that.
Good.
Dude, I'd watch
So,
the
like I
heck
said,
of
check
that.
out the Pop Talk stuff, cause then you'll get more information about that. So yeah, boom.
Nice.
Okay.
Luke, do
You
you,
can
have
also
anything
follow-
to plug?
Yeah.
Are you gonna
I
plug
do.
it, Luke?
So you can follow my Instagram at Luke Roxwold. Once again, LukeRockswold. I had my film premiere and I'm editing the video now. So I'm hoping to get it done within a few days because I just want it to be finished so that I can upload it right away and not worry about it. That should be coming soon to my vlog channel, Luke Roxwold Vlogs. And that's it. You can follow our podcast, WAITSP Podcast, on Instagram, participate in the polls and questions, and get hyped up for these episodes.
Outro music!
Yeah. Oh, okay, outro music. That's fine. Okay.
Too hyped. Too hyped there.
Oh, outro music.
Out-
Give me too loud.
What? That was ruined.